Well, I am here today with Sharon Dominguez, Sensei, Sixdan Shidoan, instructor at New York Aikikai, who's also been a longtime board member and officer at New York Aikikai, doing a lot of work as the chair of the working group for the USAF. And most recently, and Sharon, help me out with this because I'm not going to get it right, but you just got appointed to the IAF, International Aikido Federation, as
a delegate, senior member of the Gender Balance Working Group.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. That's
a big honor for you.
It really is. I didn't realize exactly when I started taking on the issues of gender and equity, or that I would be taken to these new heights. But I feel kind of honored to be able to do the work that would create more balance in an organization. And it never hurts to see leadership, whether it's from women or people of color or, whatever their gender orientation or identification. So I feel like it's my way that I could do service to a community that I love and respect.
So, let's rewind a little bit. Cause I've known of you for many years, and I saw Javier, and first thing I said when you came on, I go, man, that's a great looking picture. You have a beautiful setting there.
Thank you. Yeah, that's Javier. He absolutely insisted on making the image look right.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, we were in New York for the good part of when the pandemic of COVID hit. And after about 11 weeks, we made our way to the Hudson Valley. And it's just been kind of a relief to be able to go outside and take a mask off.
Yeah, right. For sure. But I appreciate you guys setting up for this, and you look great. And
thank you.
This will help people engage more and whatnot.
Okay.
So I want to go back a second. So, how long have you been training in Aikido now?
Well, it's a really long story. So I've been really fortunate to have 3 senseis. And my first one was, I met him in August of 1984. I don't know if you've ever heard of Masahiro M. Nakazono. Mm-mm. He was known, well, first, but just his Aikido, but also he had a school in natural medicine in Santa Fe, New Mexico, as well as taught Kodatama principle all over the world. And I met him right before I was about to move to Italy, and he blew me away. So I went to Italy I was a musician. I was a music major, and I came back and decided I wanted to go into the medicine. And people know him. He did Aikido for years. And subsequently, all my friends were doing Aikido. I had someone that I was living with that was at the New York Aikikai. And I just went in that direction. And so I started with him in 1984, did a lot of sword cuts. I learned the basics. I didn't join any dojo at that time, but I knew like Ikkyo, Rikyo, Sankyo, Yankyo, Kurogai. I knew how to fall. I didn't know how to do back rolls. We could not do back rolls for 8 years. And then I joined New York Aikikai in 1988.
Very good.
And that is when I met my next 2 senseis, which were Mata Sensei and Sugano Sensei.
Yeah, you bet. That's what an opportunity, huh? To be there.
Yeah, we didn't know it back then.
Sure.
But we were really just in a heyday. We were young. Nakazono Sensei just sort of got down on Aikido. He used to tell me that he thought it was bringing out too much of my fighting sense. So he was right. It was. But what I learned through training for 30 some odd years is that it's through the training of Aikido that my fighting sense started to dissipate. It was through learning the fine art of harmonizing Did you find it the same way? Has that been how your practice has evolved?
Yeah, it's probably the number one question we always get, right? And a lot of us come from other styles. So I did karate in college for a bit, and as much as I was an athlete, I was aggressive athlete. I played ice hockey in college.
Wow.
I didn't like the higher ranks beating up the lower ranks, and it didn't gel with me in that regard. So when I found Aikido, and we use the word democratic, diplomatic way of training, if you will, for lack of a better word. And then what the mission was, to not maim or destroy, but to meet in the middle and end it peacefully.
Right.
It definitely it grew on me instantly.
Yeah. No, me too. Although I have to say, it was New York Aikikai in those days was a little rough and tumble.
Sure.
I'd like to say that the seniors didn't want to beat on us, but
sure.
Yeah, it's, there's very few opportunities in life to have a lifelong study that you just want to sink your teeth into and never stop. And
yeah.
I don't know about you, but Aikido's sort of been that for me. It's one of the reasons why I'm still up here in the Hudson Valley is because the dojo's closed. I can't believe how tethered I've been to being in the city, because I needed, that community was so important to me, and the practice was so important to me. So, I don't know how we're doing without our dojos.
Yeah, it's been challenging. I mean, everybody I've talked to, and you've seen a lot of mutual friends that we have, it's really the same sort of, bad dream, if you will. It's a lot of good days of being positive and trying to be grateful for health, but missing the normal day to day that we're all used to. All aspects of the Aikido training. So I think it's going to be a challenge for a very, very long time for everybody. So what I want to ask you is, you've been in Aikido for a long time. You've had some nice opportunities to train with, world famous teachers, head of our organization, Yamada Sensei, obviously Sagano Sensei, and others. And, what is the biggest thing you've gotten from the training, that you apply to maybe your day-to-day, just mantra, or day-to-day approach to life? That's, not the physical Aikido, but maybe just the concept. What is it for you?
Imagine there's no illness. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to stay inside for, and no mass media too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Ooh. They may say that I'm a dreamer, and the world would be as one.
Well, I think like my first teacher, Nakazono, kind of taught me how to be, and showed me that there was a larger universe than the one that I perceived. And it was based on the laws of nature, the ins and the outs, and the expansion, the concentration. And I think through the years, I've always sort of marveled at how some of these senseis dealt with all this adoration and adulation that came their way, and how could they take all that in and not let it puff them up into these sort of like grand peacocks. You know what I mean? They were just sort of, I learned how to mitigate my own ego and its needs through watching them and through the movements, the movements that, one couldn't happen without the other. So I think, just understanding the illusion of division. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How. Go on.
I know I do. And it's something I noticed too, even, and I'm in 20 years, not 30 plus like you, but it's amazing if you think about what these guys have accomplished and how, like, having the wrong ego or the wrong approach to the success can just, put you in a different playing field to where you're going to alienate as opposed to attract more and more quality people.
Exactly. I mean, you can't build up a world around you without embodying a lot of the spirit of what the art is. Now, I'm not saying any of us are perfect.
Sure.
We're still humans. But I mean, I traveled with both the senseis and even Donovan for years. And actually, it's kind of funny because I think it was back in 1990, Yamada Sensei asked me if I would write do you remember Aikido East?
Of course.
Publication. He'd asked me if I would write an article on what it was like to take his classes at seminars traveling with him as opposed to at the home dojo. And I never wrote that article. This is a true confession. I never wrote that. But through watching him and watching Sugano Sensei, who was just so beloved, is it's not just like I got the opportunity to see Aikido through other people's eyes, besides just people that were training in the dojo. And training in the dojo, you do technique, and they don't do too much by way of explanation. It's really It's your practice. It's your meditation. But when you go to a seminar, it's very specific. They're teaching people who don't normally see their stuff. So for me, it was a real gift to be able to see what they were trying to convey by showing to people that normally wouldn't see it. But what I got more than anything was this just sort of lifelong connection with people from all over the world. I am bereft that we're not going to summer camp.
Yeah.
I just, and the only thing that's making this even okay is that, I'd organized these Zoom classes. I don't know if have you been doing the online classes? And what I've done is I have people coming, friends from Brazil and friends from, from Chile and Europe and Argentina and Canada. And it's our small way of maintaining that connection.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
I saw it come out, and I think I was traveling, but we'll get on them. We're doing our own. I've done some for another dojo. So I think, it's so important and we talked about this, I think, on the board Dojo Cho meeting, that there's still teachers and dojo owners or chief instructors that are sort of resisting doing the classes or taking the classes or just being involved in the classes. And I think you just have to adapt with what we can do. You have to embrace it as opposed to fear it, just like anything else.
Exactly. I mean, it's such an opportunity to not be self-conscious, to get out there. And it's very creative. I've been marveling at some of the things that people are doing to keep the movements going, whether it's doing taisabaki, like footwork with weapons in their hands, and people have gotten very imaginative.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's good to, we never get to chance when we don't do Tai Chi where we just practice the movements and they're very pure. This is our way of pivoting to do the pure movements.
Yeah.
Steve Pimsler the other day likened it to practicing scales.
I like that. Yeah, I can relate.
Like, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to perform, you might as well. I'll back up. Aikido's not performative. It's just that moment.
No, I understand.
You're not meant to. Yeah, but it's anyway. We're a ways away.
I try to what I'm trying to still do is make sure people are like, we're covering 3 areas on the Zoom classes. And some is on your own without Zoom, but you have to move your body.
Yeah.
We're doing a physical thing. We're doing a martial arts, physical fitness. You have to move a certain way, get your heart rate up. You have to exert some muscles, even though we don't want to use muscle in Aikido, but you
Right.
have to, like what I try to do in a 15-minute fitness Aikido class is allow the person to feel what it's like to do 90 minutes of training from the physical standpoint. So it's a lot because you're compressing them.
Right.
And then obviously we do, like what you said, we do lots of Tai Sabaki. We'll even do the technique with the, invisible uke, and we'll be invisible nage.
Yeah.
And then the third thing that we're really kind of, I don't know, I was going to ask you this because I sort of know Yamada Sensei's feeling in New York Aikikai and weapons training over the years. And you hear things and you talk to people, but it's allowed us, we've always had a heavy weapons training background in our dojo.
Right.
Now we're like taking it to the next level where we're introducing even more katas and more forms. So are you guys doing the same?
Yes. When Sugano Sensei was around,
that's true.
we did do a lot of weapons. And what I liked about his particular style of weapons is that he was very free in his movements. He didn't, he had some called forms. He would have called a form.
Sure.
But he had a lot of movements. He liked the practicing in the moment with other people. And I like that liberal feeling of being able to move, and especially with a jo in your hand and doing all the different things that not so formal. But we are also doing a lot of the others, like the jo katas.
Yeah, sure.
We have, the thing about the New York Aikikai is we have a dojo of people that come from a variety of different styles, and we have like a guy, a senior student that was in Uchidashi of Saito Sensei's. We have so it's such a wide dojo from so many different influences. People that started with Chiba Sensei, people that started with Kanai Sensei. So we actually, in our arsenal, we do have a lot of information.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool. I want to wrap up and talk about this new appointment a little bit and just a little bit about the working group, but I forgot to do this and I need to do it now, and I apologize, but I want to thank you because when I started talking about doing this, and going back a second, you had said like, it's nice to see friends on Brazil and you're doing Zoom.
Oh yeah.
Like this whole series for me was just people are like, why are you doing this? I'm like, because I have this background and I love Aikido. There's no other agenda. Like I just want to talk and support and promote and share and get people on that people want to listen to, quite honestly. And that's why I was doing it. So you wrote me a nice note, and what did you say? You said something like a love letter?
I really thought so. It was a love letter to Aikido. It was a love letter to our community. I have watched every single one of them. I've learned something about every single one of the people you've talked with, who we've had chats with. And these are people that I've known for years. And it really has been refreshing. And especially in times where we've been so separate from one another, it really is community building. I met my husband in Aikido. I owe all my friends, the work we are all doing together to like make sure that the USAF and that Aikido goes into the future. These are people that we really work, these are people that work with heart. And I have such an amount of gratitude. I'm sure you do too, or you wouldn't be doing this. To feel that which we are, the heart at which we've all been, and passion with which we've all been training together.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you really touched me when you wrote that, so I just want to thank you again. That was very nice. I want to wrap up with just a couple of quick questions, just a little kind of more rapid fire on USAF Working Group. What's the mission? What do you want to tell people out there that they don't know or they should know? What is, about the USAF Working Group?
Okay, well, first of all, we obviously got together because there was a lot of dissension and division that was going on, and my friend Sylvia and I wanted to figure out a way to address inequities and address issues of inclusion in an organization that it's not that it's slow to move. It's just it was steeped in a particular way of being, and life is changing and ideals are changing, and so we decided that we wanted to see what we could do from within in a way that was not divisive, you know what I mean? So, and the other thing is that, I'm a healthcare practitioner, Eastern medicine, and I believe in balance. Balance to me is health, and balance is also representation. It's seeing women in, flourishing in all places of leadership. It's seeing people of color. You want to see everybody. You want to see the rainbow. You want to see the spectrum of people. And this is an art that we want to see go into the future. So, there should be an opening for everybody, for people that are young and old and disabled.
Yeah, I applaud you guys for what you're doing, because a lot of times I think, and I see this in business a lot, there's an idea or there's an issue, and it's important to address it, but a lot of times it's handled incorrectly. And it's not what the message is, it's how it's delivered. So yeah. I applaud what you guys are doing, because you're doing it the right way. And that's coming from just, a USAF member. That's one of thousands. So we appreciate you guys and what you're doing, and I have so much respect for Laura and the whole board and the technical committee for what you guys do.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that, everybody that I've been working with on the board wants what everybody wants. They want to see women. They want all that. This is not, I don't want to be political, but it's just sometimes you have to figure out how. You have to figure out the way in. And, I just wanted to let everybody know, and I want to let you know that we've been doing these dojo conversations for Dojo Cho, the video conversations. And the working group is organizing a series, like a multi-part series of conversations on bias. And the first one is going to be race and bias, and then going to be gender. And we're getting panels together, really, whatever it is, a lot of this is an inside job. And we need to, I know I need to listen, and I need to constantly question myself. Why are my attitudes the way they are? And so we're using this vehicle as a way so we could continue to evolve and grow and get better. I have people that contact me about, how, people in younger dojos who are worried about the future. And I want to do this for them. I don't want to let them down.
So let's wrap up with, I'm assuming the buzz was out there for this group and what you guys are doing, and the powers that be heard and saw. And tell me about how the IAF appointment came about.
Well, they've been looking for a United States representative for a while, and I'd love to say that it was some sort of splash, but basically Charlie McGinnis put in my name and they went for it. I already attended my first meeting.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a really nice bunch of people, and they want to see women in leadership, and they want to see represented, and they put out all these worldwide initiatives. Most of them, if not all of them, got halted because of COVID. And it's also, they also work out of Europe, where there are a lot greater opportunities, really, because you can get governments to give you grants to work on it. It's a little harder in our country. And also it's a little harder in the USAF, where sort of the whole philosophy of the USAF has been to let dojos be. And now we get to figure out ways that we can be nurturing and to at least illuminate a lot of the social issues that are happening today around the world.
Very cool. Well, we're super proud of you, and I think it's going to be just another great staple of a great organization that we have in the United States Aikido Federation. Obviously, with Charlie sitting on the board and you as well appointed, it's just, I think Aikido is in very good hands going forward. And I want to thank you for stopping by today and chatting with me. It was really nice to see you.
Thank you. This has really been a pleasure. I feel very honored.